Ancient Indian ports functioned as a primary docking point for the world's wanderers. Long before modern borders, these shores were a destination for anyone traveling the Indian Ocean, creating a gateway where global identities merged. The subcontinent functioned as a geographic funnel. For millennia, migration routes originating across East Africa, the Persian Gulf, and Tibet converged here. These arrivals followed three paths: merchants pursuing profit, soldiers brought by force, and refugees fleeing for survival. As these populations arrived, they encountered a society rooted in the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the idea that the world is one family. Over centuries of continuous migration, this philosophy became the practical foundation for a society that accepted multiple ways of life side by side. Economic opportunity was the most consistent driver of this migration. By the 1st century BCE, the global demand for spices like pepper and cardamom drew Arab merchants straight across the Indian Ocean toward the western coast. This historical photograph captures the kind of coastal labor that made the Malabar coast a thriving trade hub. Ports like Muziris and Calicut became the anchor points where foreign merchants established permanent operations. The seasonal rhythm of trade eventually led to permanent settlement. Arab merchants married into local families, adopted the Malayalam language, and formed the Mapula community. Because these arrivals were driven by commerce, they integrated Islamic traditions into the existing social fabric peacefully, adding new cultural layers without demanding that local customs change. A different migration began between the 13th and 18th centuries, when people from East Africa were captured and brought across the ocean to India as enslaved sailors and soldiers. Yet, in the complex political landscape of the Deccan, some of these individuals upended the social order. Leaders like Malik Ambar rose through the military ranks to become powerful generals and de facto rulers. The Marud Janjira fort provides physical proof of the power they wielded. The siddi community controlled massive stone fortresses, commanding entire stretches of the western coastline. Today, that African heritage is preserved in the distinctive rhythms and traditional drums played by the modern siddi community, even as they face ongoing economic and social challenges. Their history leaves a complex footprint. It is a legacy of forced migration that includes both extraordinary individual triumph and a long struggle for social equality. For other communities, the journey to India was essential for survival. This white Armenian church in Kolkata stands as a marker of a community that fled Ottoman persecution in the 16th century, eventually finding safe harbor and trading rights under the Mughal emperors. Similarly, the Lotus Temple in New Delhi serves the Baha'i faith today. When Baha'i followers fled religious violence in Persia, they found a home in India because their core tenet of religious unity resonated with existing philosophical traditions. This dynamic continued into the modern era. In 1959, thousands of Tibetans crossed the high Himalayas to escape the suppression of their culture and religious life. At the very center of this massive crisis was the 14th Dalai Lama. The Indian government granted him formal political asylum, allowing the community to establish a government in exile in Dharamshala. The history of the Tibetan settlements shows that sanctuary provides a physical home and the freedom to practice a culture that was under threat elsewhere. The influence of these arrivals remains visible today, from the Armenian churches in Kolkata to the Sowa Rigpa medical clinics of the Himalayas. Trade, slavery, and persecution each brought a specific wave of human experience to the subcontinent. This culture of sanctuary also projected outward during global conflicts. During World War II, the Maharaja of Nawaganar mobilized rescue efforts to bring approximately 1,000 orphaned Polish children to safety in Gujarat. This tradition of pluralism treats difference as a strength. By allowing various groups to maintain their traditions within a common cultural framework, the society preserves a wide range of human knowledge and perspectives. As we look at these migration lines locking into the subcontinent, we are left with a final question to discuss. Why did the ports of India's west coast serve as the crucial first step for so many of these extraordinary human journeys?